Hi, my name is Louise. I'm a licensed mortgage broker. I've known David for about 14 years. I've been in the business for about 10 years. The way I met David is actually we became neighbors. My mom and my dad decided to purchase a property. I'm originally from Brazil, so when they came into purchasing property in America, all the laws do not apply like they apply in Brazil. Very different. So they came in, they met with several realtors. Every property that they looked at didn't make sense to them. They talked to people that either didn't have enough knowledge or they talked to people that just went over their head. It was just too much information. I'm not understanding you. We're not getting anywhere. After a year of looking, my mom found a property that she absolutely fell in love with. She kind of took control over the situation and researched it on her own, what she was doing, everything else, and basically did the closing herself. The realtor and the mortgage broker didn't really know what they were doing, so she just was like, I'm gonna take over and make it happen. During this process, she actually found a real passion for real estate. She got her real estate license, opened her own company. I started working with her. Well, funnily enough, David ended up living really close to me. My best friend ended up dating his best friend. They decided to set up a blind date. Apparently we were really boring people that were just bickering about being single, and they just weren't happy with that. So they were like, you know what, we need to get them somebody. So they set up a blind date, completely backfired on them, but ended up being a wonderful friendship for us. We hit it off as brothers and sisters that have been split at birth or something. All we did was talk for 12 hours about everything and anything. We talked about our upbringing, who our parents were, where we were from, how our cultures developed us as human beings, and what our ambitions were. He's originally from Dominican Republic. I'm originally from Brazil. Our cultures are very similar in the terms of what our family values are, what our friends mean to us. We're very loyal to each other, but our upbringing was very different. He comes from a stricter, this is how it is mentality. I come from, let's be a little bit more whimsical. This really does help our friendship balance each other out, because even though we don't see eye to eye, we don't necessarily agree on everything, the core base of our friendship is there, and we're still able to tease each other like brothers and sisters would tease each other, and take what the differences that we have to make each other better people throughout the process while we're laughing along. It also makes for a perfect time for us to be able to work together for him to find a home. I've been in the business for 10 years. I've seen houses so many times. I'm looking at them very differently than the average person that's looking at them. I'm looking at it as budget. I'm looking at it as property taxes, how does it affect you? Neighborhoods, how does it affect you? How does it affect you when you're reselling the property? Because realistically, nobody lives at the same property for the rest of their lives from the age of 23, 25, 30. We just don't. So I'm looking at it more from a business sense, but my upbringing allows me to look at it from more of a whimsical sense of how can I tear this house apart, rebuild it the way I want to rebuild it, still get the market value for it, if not better than market value for it. How can I take the property tax that I'm dealing with and know that it's the correct property tax for my neighborhood? Because a neighborhood can look really beautiful from the outside, and then the schools aren't so good. The neighbors that you live in aren't upkeeping their house. All those factors affect your property value, which most people don't think about. At the end of the day, he's looking for a single family home that's spacious, has a yard, might need some minor repairs here and there, but structurally, it's good. I'm looking at it as, if I tore it down, how much would it cost me to rebuild it to his liking and still sell it for a profit when the market turns around? Because it's going to. It's just the way it is. The market has always gone up and down, and at the end of the day, real estate has never been a bad investment. And it isn't. It's a buyer's market right now. The buyer who buys it now, 10 years down the line, is selling it for a huge profit. But you want to be in the right neighborhood. If you're in a neighborhood where you're paying $200 a month on property taxes, but your neighbor is destroying his home and your other next door neighbor has completely demolished what was left of his house, you're probably not going to resell it. So our relationship balances each other out. It helps us find the right balance in terms of him finding a home, as well as my knowledge keeps him a little bit more grounded than he expects.